Hi guys, Dr. Rob Barrington here with some more nutrition advice. I'd like to talk today about whey protein and actually why whey protein can be a beneficial supplement for those people who aren't into resistance training and who aren't athletes. Take your average sedentary person. Could they benefit from taking a whey protein supplement? Yes, I believe they could. Whey protein has been shown to have a number of physiological effects in the body, apart from its muscle building effects, and therefore I think some of those are worthy of discussion. Here's my whey protein made by Lambert's, but there are many different makes. The quality varies to some degree, but there's some very good deals on the internet at the moment on whey protein. It's actually very cheap, and that's the first reason to consider it. Whey protein is a very cheap supplement. It's a very cheap form of protein, and it's very high quality protein. It contains all the essential amino acids in the right ratios for human growth. Therefore it's a complete protein. And therefore it's worthy of consideration, because many other protein sources are actually getting quite expensive. Obviously you can get fairly cheap protein from things like legumes. Legumes are a very good source of cheap protein. You can also get protein from grains, and if you mix grains and legumes together you do get a complete protein. But whey protein is now so cheap, and it is a very good source of protein. It has a very good range of branched chain amino acids. They're very high. It's also got high amounts of sulfur containing amino acids, and therefore it's worthy of consideration to incorporate into the diet to boost your protein levels. Now, why would you want to increase your protein if you're not lifting weights? Well, higher protein diets have been shown to be associated with lower body weights. Those people who eat more protein tend to have lower body weights, and if you go on a low calorie diet, I wouldn't recommend low calorie diets myself, but if you do go on a low calorie diet and you consume a high content of protein in that diet, you will lose more body fat and you will retain more of your skeletal muscle. In other words, a higher protein intake during a low calorie diet will improve your body composition. So high protein diets are good for weight loss. They have been shown to benefit people who are losing weight, and its protein is possibly the component in the diet that most people probably don't have enough quality in their protein content. And whey protein is a very high quality. It's low fat, low carbohydrate, almost purely protein, but it does have other physiological effects as well. And one of the other things that's worthy of consideration is its ability to boost the immune system. Now, whey protein has been used in animal studies, and it's also been used in human studies, and these studies do show that whey protein has particular immune boosting effects. Partly this will be due to the fact that protein itself is needed for the support of the immune system, and whey protein, being a very high quality protein, will support the immune system. The immune system needs a certain amount of protein, essential amino acids, and obviously if your protein content of your diet decreases to past a certain level, you will start to get immune problems. And that may be some of the reason that whey protein is actually able to boost the immune system. However, there have been found substances in whey protein that may directly stimulate the immune system in humans and animals. There's a number of different substances. There's alpha-lactalbumin, there's beta-lactoglobulin, lactoferrin, and there's a number of different substances that fall under the general heading of glycomacropeptides. And these substances have been found to actually stimulate the immune system. So whey protein has a direct immune stimulatory effect, which means that it's a good supplement to take over the winter. There's a lot of colds around. You want to avoid catching influenza, for example. You want to make sure the protein content of your diet is high. Those people with more protein in their diet tend to have less upper respiratory tract infections. And this can be seen between the different diseases that exist in the developing world and the developed world. In the developing world, people tend not to get cancer and heart disease. They tend to die of upper respiratory tract infections, and that's because they have a low animal protein content in their diet. They rely on things like grains and beans for their protein, and therefore their protein levels in their diets are much lower. you come to the West, we tend not to get these upper respiratory tract infections that kill us. We tend to then die of Western diseases such as cancer and cardiovascular disease. So that's an interesting comparison, and it has been hypothesized that that is to do with the protein content of the diet. So protein is important for the immune system, does have immune stimulating effects. The last reason I'd recommend whey protein for a sedentary person is because of convenience. When you're out and about, the hardest food to find in a pure form is protein. You go into a supermarket, there's plenty of sources of carbohydrate. You can eat fruit, there's certain vegetables that you can eat. You can carry them in your bag, minimal preparation. Carbohydrate is very easy to carry around. Fat too, you can carry nuts around, they're a good source of fat. But protein is more difficult to prepare, it's more difficult to carry around. You can't carry eggs around with you and you need to prepare eggs. You can't carry a steak around with you, that would need preparation as well. But whey protein is very convenient. You can put a couple of scoops of whey protein in a flask, add some water to it, and you've got a very high protein drink there for later in the day if you can't find any protein. And of course, most meals should comprise of protein, carbohydrates and fats, unless you're on some kind of specialized diet, and therefore it's quite difficult to actually find that protein component of the diet when you're out and about and you need to go and buy some food. So carrying your own whey protein around is actually a very good idea. Along the same lines, if you're one of the people that tends to make smoothies, for example, there's a lot of ingredients that you can put into smoothies that are carbohydrate based, and it's very easy to incorporate fat into smoothies. What do you put in for your protein content? It's a very difficult thing to add to a smoothie. You can't put a steak in because it obviously wouldn't taste right, and it wouldn't liquidize into the smoothie. So whey protein is a very good way of boosting the protein content of your smoothies, which means that you can balance the carbohydrate and the fat intake of these drinks with a certain amount of protein as well. So don't think of protein as just a sports supplement. It's actually a very good supplement for most people. Most people could do with decreasing the amount of fatty protein that they have and increasing the amount of higher quality protein that's leaner. So whey protein has very little fat, very little carbohydrate in it. It's a very pure source of protein, and therefore many people could benefit with substituting some of the protein they do have in their diet, some of the lower quality proteins that may be associated with a lot of animal fats, for this higher quality and actually cheaper source of protein. It's actually a derivative of milk. It comes from the cheese making industry. They remove the whey when they make the cheese, and it's then sold to the food industry and then processed into whey protein. So it does come from milk, it does come from dairy. It's a good source of amino acids, and it's a very cheap form of protein. So if you are a sedentary person, you're not an athlete, and you've seen whey protein on the shelves before, don't dismiss it as a sports supplement. If you feel that you need more protein in your diet and you want some cheap protein, I would suggest that you actually consider whey protein, because as well as building muscle and helping those people who are athletes, it's actually a very healthy food. It's a healthy supplement, and it should be incorporated as part of a high quality diet.